you will see, for example, some of the announcements that we have made are directly linked to the performance of the economy. Take, for example, old age pension. Everybody is speaking about, oh, we're going to do this for old age pension and that for old age pension. But none of them are saying, listen, we have to build the economy. This is what we want for the entire country. So we have to balance that with everything else. Because if we're going to build 40,000 new homes, not talking about house lots now, we want to build 40,000 homes. Imagine the magnitude of work that will go into building 40,000 homes. I did the calculations recently, the type of financing that will be needed, the type of skills, the demand for sand, the demand for cement, the demand for steel. All of that now opens up opportunity for the manufacturing of steel, cement, and with price of energy coming down. So the type of investment that will be building out and expanding the economy, but at the same time supporting improvement in life. So I come back to the old age pensioners. What are the things that are bothering them? So they need the best health care. So we're investing in a healthcare system that will ensure they can get the best healthcare free of cost. They can get their medication on time in a more efficient way delivered to them. They have easier accessibility to the services that are provided for them. The national payment system will allow money to go directly into their bank accounts. They'll benefit from all the other grants that we'll give. The subsidies on electricity and water will continue. So everything that we have already given will continue and be expanded. And then what we did, we said, okay, having done all of this, we're now also going to give them a transportation grant of $50,000. A transportation grant, add that. Already they get that bonus pension at the end of the year. So they get this $50,000 transportation grant and set the pension at a minimum of $60,000. At a minimum. So depending on the performance of the economy, depending on the performance of the revenue side, that pension will be adjusted. So they will be guaranteed a minimum plus the transportation grant, and they will have this minimum, the flexibility of the pension going up depending on revenue and what happens with the economy. So I'm just giving you one example as to how we are thinking. Because whatever we say we'll do, people know they can trust us. Yeah, you remember in 2015, the very government now is planning promising the heavens. They said, oh, they'll double the Because We Care grant. They took it away. So one thing that underpins our work on the manifesto is we know that we will be elected to implement this. So it's not a fanciful manifesto. It's a well deliberate strategy. Everything is calculated and costed, and everything is based on some macroeconomic indicators, fundamentals, and based on the sustainability and viability of our country.
Now let's get into some specifics. You're offering basically $200,000 to every school child. Why?
So first of all, now we have said the Because We Care grant you're talking about.
Yes.
So there are two things that we will do. I just give you an example of the pensioners. Let's talk about school children generally first, because it can't be an isolation of what else we're doing. We have already said that you will have free education. Whatever you want to do, free education in Guyana. Unlimited scholarship in the gold program that we have for every Guyanese. Access to internet, access to data, building out of our network. So our children in the hinterland can have equal opportunity as any other child across the country. Building out of the Guyana Digital School. That will have an equitable way of delivering education all across the country. The same material, everything all across the country. Free textbook, expanding our textbook program and keeping that in place. Expanding the nutritional program, that is the food program in schools. So our children can have a good diet, good nutrition by the hot meal program. So that is billions upon billions of dollars of investment right there. Then what else is needed to give them a good education? Building out schools with the labs, with the infrastructure, with recreation, so you can have rounded students, ensuring that we do that. So you have to find the money to do that. Schools with good washroom facility. What else is needed? Ensuring they have access to trained teachers, trained graduate teachers. So investing to ensure all our teachers are trained and all our teachers become trained graduates. investing so they can have AI support in areas of weakness like mathematics. And then what else is needed? Having strong families, strong community to support those children in school, to support support the vulnerability that exists within society. That is why building out facilities within the communities themselves, building out, helping families to at home, providing counsel services, providing daycare centers for small children, improving the disposable income at the home, expanding opportunities for both parents to work, reducing the economic hardship and financial hardship so the children are in a better environment. And then what else is needed after that? Talk about trained teachers, everything, transportation. So we're going to give, in addition to taking the Because We Care grant to $100,000, we're also going to give a transportation grant of $100,000 annually. And these are at minimum throughout the course of the 5 years. As revenue changes, as the economy is assessed, people can be guaranteed more. But what I'm saying is at a minimum, $100,000 Because We Care grant, $100,000 transportation grant. So that is what we said when we said that we will keep what we have, expand it. People can, they can expect it to grow, and then at a minimum level, and then as the economy perform, because we are very conscious about the fact that we will have to implement this, and letting people understand that whatever we say, whatever commitment we make, that is what we're going to do. And this is outside of the grants, outside of the increases in salaries, outside of the other support that we will definitely be giving families, children, the pensioners. This is outside of the tax breaks that they will get. This is outside of the subsidies and cash transfer that we will give to ensure home ownership is possible. The support we will give in people renovating and expanding their homes, creating that value chain so that you can leverage that asset and make your asset work for you, building financial inclusion in the system. All of this is part of building that ecosystem to support strong, sustainable, and prosperous living here.
And of course, you're going to implement this incrementally so that people don't think if you're reelected that they will get this in 2026.
Well, so let me be very clear. The pension is at a minimum, and that we are already close to that already, and depending on the economy. So all of these things will be implemented in a very, very short time frame. Very, very short time frame. Because we want to maximize the benefit, and also to give that, of course it will be phased. I said everything must be in relation to the performance of the economy also, and this is at a minimum we are setting it.
And so I was looking at the manifesto. There wasn't any specifics when it comes to increases for teachers or healthcare workers or other public servants. Why did you choose to do that and not say something specific?
So we have committed ourselves, and I've said that our salaries are going to be so competitive that the nurses who have left, when they look at their entire budget, will be coming back. The teachers will be coming back. The construction worker are already coming back. So that gives you an idea of what that structure would be like. It will be highly competitive. And you must understand too, salaries are not only about your monthly salary. It's about other allowances. It's about hinterland allowance for those who are in the hinterland. It's about how we help you to own your own home. It's how we help you to own your own car. It's about how we help you to keep gas prices down. It's how we help you to reduce your cost of energy, which will come down by half. It is how we help you to have cheaper cooking gas at home. It is how we help you to reduce the expenditure on your children, on your family health care, on your family education, building out those child care centers so that your children can go in a safe environment whilst you go to work. It's about efficiency in the energy system. It's about a road network that reduces the time you spend and the money you spend on transportation. It's about those support that I talk about for transportation grant for children and the pensioner. It's about all of these things, not only the salary. So definitely that will go up. That will go up. We already committed to the negotiations with the union. We have an agreement up to the end of this year, next year for some of the unions, and that will continue. So if you look at that, and then of course, the salaries are linked directly to the pensions that you'll retire at, which will continue to increase. If you look at what we have done for the police, not only did we adjust their salaries at the scale, we've adjusted them in promotion. So, and same thing we have done for teachers, nurses, and this is going to continue to happen. These adjustments are going to continue. And as the economy continues to perform, they can look forward for more, knowing that this government will give more.
I did want to ask you about some things that give me personally a headache. Georgetown is a very disorganized city. In your manifesto, you talk about reorganizing the city basically when it comes to transportation. And you've talked about, in the manifesto, a sort of a rail system getting us all the way to Brazil. I wanted you to talk a bit more about those two when it comes to infrastructure.
All right, so if I may just briefly tell you what we're trying to do. We're trying to integrate have an integrated infrastructure plan that is for security, our security infrastructure, our digital infrastructure, our physical infrastructure, our energy infrastructure, and our logistics infrastructure. These are key. So our rivers, how we integrate our ports and our rivers, how we integrate with northern Brazil, and how do we integrate with the rest of the Caribbean. And that's how the infrastructure plan is built. And then how communities are integrated with each other. So it's about connecting region 8 and 9. It's about the ferry service, building out the 2 modern wharf facility, additional ferry service for region 1. It's about connecting Mabaruma through support for the farmers and the community, the charity. It's about building out the charity waterfront and wharf facility. The new wharf at Porica. It's about, which will be international. It's about the municipal airport in Barbies. The expansion of the Chedijagan International Airport. It's a new airport in Letem, all municipal airport. It's the building out of that rail system to connect to northern Brazil to the new deep water port that will be built in Region 6 with an exclusive economic zone. It's about a Wales development zone and the connection with Sand Hill, going all the way to Sand Hills, and from Timeri to Sand Hills, bridging the Damara River again, bridging the Corpocari crossing, looking at Puruni crossing Itabali. It's about bridging all of that, connecting all of that. It's about the more ferry into Region 2. It's the expansion of the road Del Conte going all the way for simplicity to Macaura, then to Bartica. It's about the digital infrastructure, the safe Guyana infrastructure also to follow that, so that our entire country is interconnected. It's about building out the mobile stations. It's about the substations for energy, the grid, the national grid to be built out to meet this, because all of this will be opening up new opportunities, new investment, whether it's housing, mining, forestry, manufacturing, industrial development, and then all of that also will bring with it new areas of urbanization, new growth poles. And these new areas of urbanization and growth pole would what we call in urban and regional planning create a shift position. Right now, historically, everybody comes to Georgetown to work. In a shift position, as new growth poles are created and new centers of development are created, more jobs migrate to closer to the rural communities because there are centers closer there. So there's less pressure coming into the city. And that is one of the things that we want. When you look at the Enmore development zone that we're talking about, that is less pressure coming into the city. The new Silica City, less pressure coming into the city. And then how do we, when we set up these hubs, these small business development hubs, that will have the small mechanics, the spray painters, and all of these people. That is less pressure coming out of the city and out of communities into well-organized, planned area. So then we have to move people along this corridor more efficiently, because the city is still very critical. And how do we move people along this corridor? We move people along this corridor by building out an infrastructure that support mass efficient movement in a safer way. That is why we're talking about a railway track. And then how do we, that's from Cane Grove to Golden Grove. And then when we talk about the city itself, how do we make the city more attractive, more touristic? Not only cleaning the city up and building out all the drainage and the concrete drains and everything, but also how do we create a tram system within the city that takes away the congestion, make it safer, more attractive, a better experience. When you go on the seawall today, it's a better experience. When you go to all these parks we're building, it's a better experience. And so that is what we want. Make the city living, planting out all the trees, green and living. So there's a lot of thinking. You know, we can sit here and talk all day, and we're excited about it. That's the other thing. You know, it's not a flat thing. You know, people speak about it. I look at them speak about the manifesto. It's flat. There's no energy in it. There's no excitement in it. There's no belief in it, because they don't believe a hell what they're saying, because there was no thinking behind it. This is a clearly defined strategy as to where we want to go. Look at the small business development fund that we want to create.
Is the fund different from the bank?
The bank, the bank. So what does this bank target? This bank target to address a number of issues. How do we ensure there's financial inclusion, access to liquidity, access to capital for all Guyanese? So one of the big things that small business face is the collateral requirement, 2, the technical requirement, and 3, the invoice time. The time it takes for them to be paid. So we have to solve that. That is why we said we'll bring a development bank that will lend at 0%, but a commercial bank can co-invest with us, reduce their risk, which reduce the need for collateral and reduce the interest, and then incentivize the system like we did for low-income housing to give them incentives for lending to SMEs. And then what do? How do we create opportunities that are scaled up for these SMEs to invest in also? That is why I tell you about the demand, the steel plant, the fertilizer plant, all the other opportunity, the gas terminal, refined product. But not only building out those, but finding ways in which the average investor and average Guyanese family can be part of these development, can be part of these economic opportunities, so that it's financial inclusion, it's inclusion in wealth creation, and it's advancing the country.
So I wanted to continue the discussion on shifting growth poles. Something very interesting I found in the manifesto. It talks about redefining roles of local authorities. I wanted you to explain what is meant by that. Is it that you're going to give NDCs, for example, more resources so they can take care of the garbage collection and all of this that you talk about?
So it's an interesting observation, Neil. Well, let me put it this way. We are already devolving more resources going now to the NDCs and the hinterland communities also. So there is more responsibility to come with those resources. Right now we're investing to give every NDC a modern fire truck to respond to fires. We're investing in all their roads and drains. We're putting in street lights in all their communities. We are investing in recreational facilities. We're investing in solid waste disposal site so that they can have proper garbage collection. So when we say evolving, there is already an evolving role for the local authorities, the NDCs, the RDCs, the village council. That role is evolving. It's evolving because of the type of resources they now are managing and the type of assets that we are passing down to them, because we want democracy and efficiency to be built at every single level. So it's very important that we invest at the community level, at the NDC level, at the village level, not only from a physical perspective or from an asset perspective or a financial perspective, but building out the human capital, building out the regulations, improving the regulations, making them more efficient. Because most times the population interact directly with these bodies. And if they don't have the capacity and capability, if they don't have the human resource asset, if they don't have the technical skills, then the service that the citizenry would love to enjoy as a result of the investment we're making may not be enjoyed. And that is what we meant. It's time, I think, that we take a deep dive to restructure these bodies, ensure that they are well-staffed, fully equipped, and ensure that they have more transparency, more accountability, and to create more service-oriented, service-friendly environment for all of these bodies.
Now, coming to hinterland and Amerindian development, in the manifesto it speaks about 5,000 new projects. What are you talking about?
So, we have had the National Two Showers Council meeting every year. I have had hundreds of meetings all across the hinterland. Some people woke up a few months ago and believed that they're specialists on the hinterland. That aside, I've been going all my life to the hinterland. I had the honor and privilege of serving President Jagdeo when he was president. And one of the things that we had to do when he was president, because we had limited resources, was to live in these communities. Sometimes we live in communities for 3 weeks because there is only so much money to take you in, and you don't come. You make sure you finish all the work before you come out. Today, people go in and come out the next day because of more resources and efficiency in the system. So now, let's come back to the village council. Now we have the LCDS, which is working for the communities themselves. Resources going directly. We have the presidential grant. We have the national budget that is transferring resources. We have committed to building out the recreational facilities, the school facilities, the health facilities, the road. But when you look at these communities themselves and the leaders in these communities, it's amazing. And I want to congratulate all of them. They are now also thinking at a much larger level and a much larger scale. They're talking about food security, not only for themselves, but food security for Guyana. They're talking about climate resilient projects. They're talking about grid system. They're talking about building networks, treated water, community organization in terms of building in communities, which is semi-urban type of planning. They're talking about investment in tourism. Look at this, brilliant. I sat down with the leadership of the South Rupununi, how they protect the Essequibo River head, and how to protect the biodiversity. They are completely engaged in this national conversation. And even their aspirations, their goals, and what they want to achieve from their community is very different from 20 years ago. There's almost no different from what we want out here. So that is why at the hinterland community, when we said 5,000 projects, it's about how we integrate these communities. How do we ensure that they have similar facilities? How do we ensure that we take labs? Because children in there now are going to secondary schools now. They all want to be doctors, lawyers, engineers. We have to take in the services to help them to have access to pursue those careers. And that is what we're doing. When you look at the last 70 cadet recruit, 10 of whom are now coming from indigenous communities because they now have access to secondary education. So they want housing projects. They want organized housing. So the needs of the hinterland is also changing. The priorities is changing based on the development they have seen and their access to resources, and knowing that they have a government in the People's Progressive Party Civic that is listening to them, that is working with them, that want to see them advance, and that is investing to give them the best possible life. So this is important for us to understand. So over the last 5 years, we have had conversation at varied level with our indigenous brothers and sisters, at the level of the Tushao, the National Tushao Conference, at the level of the community, and these conversations would have been continuous. As a result, we've been able to work with them. This is a plan that came from them, even through the consultation, on what those priorities are. What are the key projects that will propel these communities forward to ensure that they are food secure and that their economy is integrated to the national economy? So, for example, we're working with Embrapa to help in the Rupununi and elsewhere to develop what they call mega farmsteads that will help to support what we want to do in Georgetown, whether it's corn, soya, silage, whether it's the feed production, livestock, expansion of their own livestock. They're now talking about marine cage farming. So it's changing to the extent that miners will tell you today that the villagers who used to go to work in the mines are saying to them, yeah, it doesn't make sense for me to leave home for 3 months anymore, because I'm getting the same money in the village because of the opportunity that exists in the village now. So that new wave of thinking that we are encouraging from from a village economy to a more integrated economy. Village economy, yes, but integrated into what else is happening within the region, and how do we support their productivity and the expansion in production. That is why we have been supporting, for example, in the cassava mill, and then having that product integrated into value creation. So the hinterland is a fantastic story that is unfolding. How do we co-invest with them to build out what I would say tourism facility at scale? Because tourism facility at scale is very, very important. You can have you can and that is why we're building the airports, and we're redoing all of the hinterland airstrips to make them longer, safer. Because one of the main things for the people in the hinterland is access to market for their product and the cost of transportation. And we're investing to ensure that their cost of transportation come down and they have access to markets, so that the input costs can come down, their profitability can go up. And how do we support adding value on what they create? So those are also key part of what we're doing. So all of these infrastructure will be linked to doing things at scale. So if you go at Rodeo, you know this. All the hotels are booked out for Rodeo next year, since Rodeo was completed this year. So how do we expand that market as an all-year market, and then create enough capacity within the market to take it to the next level? Those are the type of things that, and of course, very important for the hinterland, is how do we invest in maintaining that strong cultural heritage, expanding the cultural heritage. And let me come to that, as I'm cultural, because I don't want to escape this thought to escape me. Very important in this Vision 2030 is our Guyanese in the arts. Not only our artists, but every single one in the arts and culture. Whether you are a writer, whether you're a poet, the fashion industry, we're going to invest a lot of money to support our young people, support the arts, support our fashion industry, and to make that part of our national identity. To create avenues through which these skills can be developed, upscaled, harnessed, and the economic empowerment, and bringing in that market opportunity for all of them. So you will see a lot of investment in that too, in the arts and culture, and in this national identity. Not only investment from the point of view of keeping it alive, but investment from the perspective of making it marketable, of creating revenue out of it, of ensuring that entertainment, arts, culture play an important part of that economic transformation and that economic expansion that we're talking about. That's why I spoke about a modern indoor facility, arena facility, where we can host international events, where our local talent can have exposure. Our local talent can find a stage with international talent, so that they have exposure and they benefit from what you call the pass-on or knock-on effect. Because, in sports, in arts, is getting spotted. You have to get spotted. And that ignites opportunities.
I want to continue on that train of thought, because I was looking at the pledges that in the manifesto for youth, sport and culture. I wanted to know on what basis you've made those pledges. I was looking for a mention of a policy in those 3 areas, but I didn't see it. So can you talk more about that, of how do you make what an artist does their livelihood?
Well, that we have started that project in the last 5 years. And it's understanding, first of all, that they're an important part of the structure of our society. They're an important part of the economy itself and the type of opportunities that we can build in the economy. And from that perspective, understanding that, I saw one presidential candidate said he would scrap the Global Super League. You don't understand what he's talking about. The size of the sports market and the opportunity that comes with the sports market is enormous. We have to talk about how we expand that. How do we get all the players to buy into that? And that's where we're going. But more importantly, how do we take that to football? How do we take that to squash? How do we take that for our artists? If we don't give our artists the platform or invest in the platform, whether it's investment in studios across all the region, investment in literacy club, investment in the secondary school, expanding the arts section in the secondary school system, primary school system, building and investing in culture and cultural heritage, all of these things. It's about creating an awakening, I would say, in these areas. We are a sleeping giant in all of these areas. And these are areas that are critically integrated in our tourism, critically integrated in our national identity, and in our heritage. And there's no price that you can put to that. The country has to understand that we have to value these people who are investing in developing their talent, and who are investing to ensure this identity of what makes us Guyanese, this cultural heritage, the heritage of our arts and our identity that is protected, is expanded, and is marketed. Look at our fashion. How do we build out the fashion industry? We just had Origins this year, and you saw the overwhelming response we had for that. How do we make it, how do we take it on a global scale? And those are the things we're talking about. Exciting things for the future. Silica City, you will have international golf course managed by international players who will have to market that to golfers internationally. When they come, these are top tier tourists. When they come, they want to see the country's art, culture. They want to see the expression of the country and people. So the opportunities, as I said, are enormous. I know we are running out of time, but I want to say to you that investment in our human capital and our people is also an important plank of this manifesto. How do we ensure that we invest in our people to give them a quality of life that enable them to live a more fulfilling life? And that has been addressed holistically in this manifesto. Job creation. From day one, we'll be out of labor, because to implement this, you look at 40,000 houses and a minimum of 5 persons per houses. That's 200,000 jobs continuously over the next 5 years. I just want to stitch in a
quick one on that. Why are you building houses instead of giving the house lots and letting people build their houses?
So we have seen the houses that we have built, there's enormous demand for it. And because of everybody in our professionals and in the work environment, there's a high demand for the homes. So when we say building, it's not only the government building, but to achieve 40,000, we will have to build a lot of that too. When I say government, in support with the private sector. But there will also be the opportunity for others to build. The idea here is that we must have 40,000 houses built. And if you look at $15 million, let us say $15 million per house.
A flat 2-bedroom?
Yeah, let's say a minimum investment of 15 million, because some will be less low income, some will be higher. You look at the value creation. You look at the value creation you're talking about. That's hundreds of billions of dollars of injection in the economy. So that one project alone, and we want, let's take the highway for example, the Linden Suicide Highway, and let us take Timeri. I've already said that we have now the full mapping of that area. The North Timeri, I think that's the area behind the airport. That area now, most of it we know we can regularize now. So that infrastructure to build and regularize that whole area, and everybody now knowing that they have land tenure and ownership will be improving their homes. Building out of Yarracabra 500 homes and the homestead going there. Regularizing housing and not only regularizing, but organizing the housing along the along the Linden Sioux Dyke Highway, ensuring they get water, ensuring they have title to their home so they can go to the bank, they can raise financing, ensuring they have good roads, accessibility to services, medical services, educational services, and building out right along the highway and addressing those issues. That's a big plan from day one. I think within the first 6 months, we'll have a comprehensive development plan in place for the regularization process of those persons on the highway. And where it is difficult, we will organize them into housing. We'll organize them into housing along the highway. We're talking about thousands of families that will benefit from this program. And they will benefit almost instantaneously. We already have a plan. The last 3 years has been difficult because there was a lot of conflict on who owned what. So what we're doing now, we have a proper occupational survey, we have proper demarcation, we have completed the block planning. So it's now moving into the final stage of letting people know which area, what, and how we're going to regularize them. But everybody will be in a housing setting that is of dignity and honor along the highway. Just giving you an example. Then you look at Linden, building out that housing, continuing that project for another 1,000 homes. But if you look along the coast, we're already embracing the wetlands. So we have maximized where we can go. That is why the investment now opening up the Sand Hill Road link, opening up Wales, going all the way back to the Sand Hill Road, opening up the Del Conte route, opening up the Palmyra area in Region 6, Molson Creek in Region 6, investing now the regions. Region 1, Region 2, Region 9 want expanded housing. Region 8, they all want settlement style development now. So all of these areas we've completed. The last 5 years, why you see this magnitude of transformation. Behind all of that, a lot of work has been ongoing on this infrastructure layout for the next 5 years. So that is what you'll see implemented at a rapid pace.
Mr. President, the thing that bothers people a lot is that being able to access regular services continues to be a headache. You got a line of hours for passport office before daybreak sometimes. In this manifesto, you talk, it talks about a My Guyana app. You've spoken about other apps also. What's the plan? How soon will those things come on board?
We already have a One Guyana AI app.
Yeah.
That's out there. Mm-hmm. We want everybody to use it. Everything is going to go on a digital platform. So we don't want people to be in lines anymore. You must be able to conduct government business on your bed.
On your phone.
Or on your phone, on your bed. You go home at night, you take 20 minutes, you conduct all your financials, business and everything. But importantly, we have to migrate people to that because we'll have to do a lot of training, building out the platform, and that has already started. Or immigration services, or GRO services, all of these things. You don't need to fill out forms if somebody died, go to public health, go to fire, go here. You fill out one set of forms online and you go. You go to one office, the entire system is integrated. So if you go there and they need something from GRO, they can go on the system and get it from GRO. They don't need to tell you go back to GRO and come back. So taking out that bureaucracy. And a lot of times it's human biases in the system itself. How do we take away that human bias? It's technology. Take, for example, someone coming into the airport now. You come through the electronic gate only if you are specially selected by a screening process and they need secondary, you go to another line. But then when you go, you don't need a custom officer to randomly decide, I'll go, you come here, I'll check your bag, you come there. We're putting in modern modern scanners. So all the bags come through the scanner. And it's not only linked there, it is integrated into a system that stores the data. So we have traceability, building accountability into the system. So all the bags pass through the scanner. And when all the bags pass through the scanner, whatever they see in the scanner, that is how decision is made, and everything can be checked back. That's important. There's a database, adding that layer of accountability, building out an integrated security port system to keep our ports safe, fighting off illicit trade, drugs, whether it's drug, gold, or whatever. We are building an integrated system. We've already decided with Colombia. We're going to talk to Colombia, Suriname, our U.S. partners, Brazil, and the RSS in the Caribbean to have an integrated system through which we deploy our assets in totality to fight illegal activity. Reform of the tender system. Because we have all of these small contractors now, we have to have a tier system. So we need massive reform in the tender system. That will be an immediate task. The implementation of the One Guyana Commission, getting to work, right? So the modernization of our financial system and infrastructure, from the central bank coming right down, putting a technical team to work from day one to deal with this, the modernization of the financial sector. So it is many moving parts that will have to come together at a very fast pace and in record time.
You don't speak like a man who planned on losing these elections. What are you going to be doing in the next 2 weeks to ensure that that happens, that you're reelected?
So the next 2 weeks is continuing to do what we have done over the last 5 years. We're still delivering schools, we're still delivering hospitals, but continuing to let the people know that this is a government they can trust. This is a government that has delivered. This is a government that has stuck to its commitment it made to the people. This is a government that will continue to work for you. And this is the government with a clear plan that is measurable, that is implementable, and a plan to take this country into prosperity and to build a Guyana 2030 that is not behind any other country in the world. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.